Every day, millions of people step into the arena of the financial markets, armed with charts, indicators, and what they believe is a foolproof edge. Yet, for 95% of them, the market remains an unforgiving adversary, eating them alive the moment their conviction cracks and their hands begin to shake. This isn't a game of perfect entries or magic indicators. It's a battle fought not against the market, but against themselves. The truth is, you're not trading the market. You're trading your beliefs, your ego, your trauma. The market isn't your opponent. It's your mirror. It doesn't punish you. It reveals you. And that, precisely, is why so many people lose. But what if I told you that the world's most legendary traders weren't born different? They didn't possess secret systems or crystal balls. They simply grew tired of lying to themselves. They confronted their deepest fears, their arrogance, their insatiable greed, and they used the market as a crucible to burn away all that held them back. In Jack Schwager's seminal work, The New Market Wizards, he interviewed the titans of trading men and women who amassed fortunes not by being perpetually right, but by becoming incredibly resilient. Some were unassuming school teachers, others were meticulous math nerds, and a few were ex-poker players. None of them were natural-born prodigies. Yet, they all shared one profound commonality. They transformed. This isn't a mere tutorial. It's a blueprint for identity alchemy. We'll delve into the stories of those who mastered fear, learned to lose with grace, and trusted their gut because it had witnessed countless market cycles. You'll discover why your greatest edge might just be the very pain you've been desperately trying to avoid. So, if you've ever rage quit the market, if you've ever chased a candle that incinerated your account, if you've ever found yourself asking, "Why do I keep doing this to myself?" then this story is for you. Because the market doesn't want you to win, not until you become someone it simply cannot destroy. Section 1. The market is a mirror. What if the market isn't here to make you rich? What if it's not here to confirm your predictions or reward your intelligence? The market, in its purest form, has no opinion, no memory, no mercy. What it does possess, every single second, is a perfect mirror. A mirror that reflects everything within you, your deepest hopes, your paralyzing fears, your raw desperation, your unbridled arrogance. Most people, tragically, never truly see it. They delude themselves into believing they are analyzing price action, when, in a profound twist of irony, price action is, in fact, analyzing them. Jack Schwager's interviews time and again circle back to one singular, undeniable truth. The individuals who truly succeed in this unforgiving game don't merely understand charts, they understand themselves. They have meticulously studied their own patterns, their impulsive reactions, their inner chaos. One trader, in a moment of stark self-awareness, confessed, "I realized I was chasing trades the same way I used to chase validation as a kid." Another, with raw honesty, admitted, "I was trying to beat the market the way I used to try to impress my father." Pause for a moment and consider that. How many of your own trades are, in essence, emotional reenactments? How often do you cling to a losing position for too long, not because it's a sound strategy, but because letting go would mean admitting you were wrong? How frequently do you increase your position size, not because it's a smart move, but because you crave the fleeting sensation of power? The market, in its cold indifference, cares nothing for your feelings, yet it will relentlessly expose them to you. And if you possess the courage to pay attention, it transforms into the most profound therapist you will ever encounter. For it never, ever lies. When an account is blown, it's not the market's fault. It is your own unresolved impulses, staring back at you with an unsettling clarity. One of Schwager's most powerful revelations came from a trader who began journaling, not his trades, but his emotions during each one. Over time, he began to discern patterns, not in the market's movements, but within himself. Fear, he observed, consistently surfaced after 3 consecutive losses. Greed, he noted, invariably kicked in whenever a friend posted a significant gain. He learned to anticipate his inner signals with a precision that no technical indicator could ever hope to match. The true breakthrough wasn't in predicting the market, but in observing himself. These master traders didn't strive to eliminate emotion. They respected it, studied it, and ultimately disarmed it. And when that profound shift occurred, trading ceased to be a source of panic and instead became a masterful performance. Now, ask yourself, What if every trade you make is not merely a test of strategy, but a profound test of self-awareness? What if your greatest edge isn't some revolutionary new system, but the long overdue realization of what the market has been desperately trying to show you all along? And if that idea resonates deep within your core, then prepare yourself, for we are about to meet the trader who embraced fear so completely, so profoundly, that it became the very bedrock of his financial empire. Section 2. Why the best traders are cowards. It sounds counterintuitive, doesn't it? We're often fed narratives of bold, fearless traders risking it all for massive gains. Yet, the profound truth, echoed repeatedly in Schwager's interviews, is this: the best traders in the world are, in fact, cowards. They are not reckless. They are not audacious. They certainly don't bet the farm. In fact, the higher the stakes, the smaller they trade. This seemingly backward approach is precisely what sets them apart. They didn't conquer the markets by being brave. They triumphed by being afraid. Consider the remarkable story of Tony Saliba, who transformed a modest 50-0 account into a staggering 8 million trading options. When Schwager pressed him on his secret, Saliba's answer wasn't about intricate setups or complex volatility curves. It was about risk control so obsessive, so meticulous, that it bordered on paranoia. He would, without hesitation, walk away from his screen mid-trade if something felt even slightly off. He would deliberately reduce his position size after a significant win, a calculated move to guard against the insidious creep of overconfidence. And if a trade ever began to feel too good, that was his immediate cue to exit. Then there's Tom Baldwin, one of the titans of the bond market, moving thousands of contracts in minutes. One might expect an aggressive, high-octane personality. Yet beneath that surface was a mind meticulously wired for defense. He didn't chase wins. He anticipated danger. His position sizes were calculated with surgical precision, and his losses were cut with ruthless efficiency. Herein lies the profound paradox. Amateurs mistakenly believe courage means stubbornly holding onto a losing position, hoping for a miraculous turnaround. Professionals, however, understand that true courage lies in the act of letting go of bad trades, letting go of pride, letting go of the desperate need to always be right. One astute trader confided in Schwager, "Every time I start getting confident, I size down. I want to feel like I could lose, because that keeps me sharp. This isn't cowardice, it's mastery." Most people enter the market driven by the allure of reward, chasing the thrill of big wins. But the true professionals? They are relentlessly scanning for threats. That vigilance is what keeps them alive, what ensures their longevity in this brutal arena. It's akin to walking a tightrope suspended over a vast canyon. The average trader gazes at the breathtaking view. The great trader, however, meticulously watches the wind. A normal person feels a surge of euphoria after a win and immediately bets bigger. A master, conversely, feels a prickle of suspicion after a win and instinctively protects their capital. Because the real danger isn't the loss itself, it's the treacherous monster of hubris. There's a classic joke from the trading floor. What's the fastest way to make a small fortune trading? Start with a large fortune and no risk management. So, if you've ever found yourself thinking, "I need to take more risk to grow," I urge you to reconsider. What if you don't need more courage? What if you need more fear? What if the quiet voice you've been ignoring, the one that whispers, "Slow down," is precisely the voice that will transform you into a legend? Because in the unforgiving world of trading, bravery doesn't make you rich. Survival does. But what if I told you that even surviving isn't enough? Especially if you're trading someone else's system. Section 3. No holy grail, only personal edge. Every losing trader shares a common relentless pursuit, the search for the perfect system. They bounce from strategy to strategy, from RSI this week to Fibonacci next, perhaps dabbling in some obscure Wyckoff theory the month after. And with each inevitable failure, they utter the same lament, "It worked for someone else, so what's wrong with me?" But here's the unexpected twist. The profound revelation. Nothing is wrong with you. What's wrong is the question itself. Because as Jack Schwager meticulously uncovered after interviewing dozens of trading legends, there is no one-size-fits-all strategy. There is no universal holy grail. These master traders didn't adhere to the same systems. They didn't employ identical indicators. Some were ultra-technical, dissecting charts with surgical precision. Others trusted their gut feelings, an instinct honed over years. Some scalped tick charts, while others held positions for months on end. The only common thread, the singular element they all shared, was profound self-knowledge. Take Mark Ritchie, a trend-following maestro who transformed a mere 30 into millions by riding massive market moves over extended periods. He imparted a crucial insight to Schwager. The key is to find an approach that fits your personality. That's it. Not what looks good on paper, not what backtests perfectly, but what genuinely aligns with you. Your psychology, your pain tolerance, your unique emotional rhythm. Contrast this with Linda Rashka, who forged her fortune in the fast-paced world of intraday trades. For her, long-term positions were nothing short of psychological torture. Holding trades for weeks wasn't inherently wrong. It was simply wrong for her. Do you see the pattern emerging? The Holy Grail isn't a system, it's alignment. A profound, unwavering alignment between who you are at your core and how you trade. But this demands a brutal honesty, a level of self-confrontation that most people instinctively avoid. Why? Because it's far easier to blindly copy someone else's method than to confront your own inherent wiring. It's simpler to follow a signal than to admit your risk tolerance is paper thin. It's more convenient to blame a strategy than to ask the uncomfortable question, am I even meant to trade this way? Here's a metaphor Schwager never explicitly stated, but one that rings undeniably true. Trying to force someone else's system onto your brain is akin to borrowing shoes 2 sizes too small and attempting to run a marathon. It will be painful, awkward, and ultimately guaranteed to fail. So, what then is the solution? Stop chasing what's currently working for others. Instead, begin the arduous yet infinitely rewarding journey of studying yourself. Journal your emotional triggers. Meticulously track your comfort zones. Pay close attention to when you experience a state of flow and when you succumb to panic. Then, and only then, reverse engineer a strategy that perfectly fits that. Because the traders immortalized in The New Market Wizards didn't win because their systems were inherently superior. They won because their systems were meticulously tailored to their own intricate inner world. One trader articulated it perfectly. I spent years looking for the Holy Grail outside. Turns out it was inside me all along. I just had to dig through a lot of BS to find it. So if you've been feeling like a failure for not getting it, here's your permission slip. You don't need to adopt someone else's system. You need to painstakingly build one that resonates with your very soul. But that, my friend, takes time. And often, that transformative process begins not with a triumphant success, but with profound pain. Section 4. They blew up, then became millionaires. Every trader, regardless of their eventual success, carries a scar. Some simply wear it better than others. Before they ascended to legendary status, the market, in its brutal efficiency, broke them, humbled them, and often utterly humiliated them. And in those desolate moments, when their accounts lay empty, their confidence shattered, and their dreams seemingly reduced to ashes, they were confronted with a stark, binary choice: quit or transform. Jack Schwager, in his insightful interviews, didn't merely seek out success stories, he sought out survivors. And what he unearthed was a hidden yet pervasive pattern. Nearly every market wizard had, at some point, experienced a catastrophic blow-up. Not just a minor setback, not just a bad week, but full-blown, soul-crushing devastation. One trader, with a raw honesty that cuts to the bone, confessed to losing 600-0 in a single afternoon, simply because he stubbornly refused to cut a loser. Another, succumbing to the intoxicating allure of greed, doubled down on a losing bet and watched months of hard-earned gains vanish in mere minutes. Yet, none of them, not a single one, blamed the market. Their gaze turned inward. They blamed their own mindset, their inflated egos, their dangerous illusion of control. And it was precisely at that juncture that something truly extraordinary began to unfold: their real journey. It wasn't the profits that forged their greatness. It was the searing pain. Because pain, in its relentless purity, shattered the fantasy. It obliterated the dangerous illusion that they were smarter, faster, or somehow invincible. And from the smoldering ashes of that collapse, they meticulously rebuilt, but this time with a profound and hard-won humility. Bruce Kovner, another titan of the trading world, articulated this truth with chilling precision. The worst thing that can happen to a new trader is to win big on their first trade, because early success breeds delusion, but early failure, that builds character. Schwager's interviews are replete with stories of traders who only began to take risk management seriously after the market delivered a gut-wrenching punch. One individual blew up 3 times before finally instituting strict stop-loss rules. Another kept a photograph of his biggest losing day prominently displayed next to his screen, a stark, daily reminder of the exorbitant cost of arrogance. In trading, pain isn't merely feedback. It is, in essence, the curriculum. Every blown account is a lesson meticulously disguised. And if you possess the fortitude to truly survive it, not just financially, but, more importantly, mentally, you don't emerge as the same person. You come back, reborn. It's what the mythologist Joseph Campbell famously termed the dark night of the soul. In the grand narratives of mythology, the hero must descend into the underworld before returning, laden with treasure. In the unforgiving realm of trading, the underworld is your worst loss, your paralyzing panic, your gnawing shame. But make no mistake, what irrevocably separates the amateurs from the masters is who keeps walking. One trader, reflecting on his journey, told Schwager, "I lost everything at 25. By 30, I was a millionaire. The difference? I stopped fighting the market and started learning from it." Another simply stated, "My worst day became my best teacher." Now I keep that memory close, not to torture myself, but to remind myself how far I've come. So, if you've blown up before, take heart. Good. That means you've begun. The market has initiated you. Now, the pivotal question remains, will you flee from the lesson, or will you rise into it? Because on the other side of that profound loss awaits someone new, someone who no longer fears the market, because they have, at long last, ceased to fear themselves. And once you face that pain, you are finally ready to learn the most surprising skill of all: how to lose like a winner. Section 5. Losing is a skill. Nobody tells you this when you first embark on your trading journey, but here's a truth that will redefine your understanding of success. The traders who amass the greatest wealth are the ones who have meticulously mastered the art of losing. Sounds insane, doesn't it? Yet, within the pages of The New Market Wizards, this profound lesson echoes on nearly every page. Losing isn't merely an unavoidable consequence of trading. It is, in fact, a highly refined skill set, one that critically separates those who endure and thrive from those who spiral into oblivion, because everyone, without exception, experiences losses. But only the truly elite know how to lose. One trader, interviewed by Schwager, eloquently described losses as tuition. He observed, "The market charges you to learn, but most people drop out after the first semester." That single line encapsulates the entire philosophy. Amateurs, in their emotional reactivity, treat a loss as a definitive verdict, a personal failure. Professionals, however, with their detached rationality, treat it as invaluable data. Consider Marty Schwartz, one of the most consistently profitable traders Schwager ever studied, who transformed 40-0 into a staggering 20 million over his illustrious career. His cardinal rule was deceptively simple. If the market begins to move against you, do not rationalize, do not hope, do not wait. Get out, reset, and move on. He harbored no emotional attachment to being right. His sole objective was to trade well, and trading well, for Schwartz, unequivocally meant losing fast. Contrast this with the average trader, who clings desperately to a sinking position, whispering reassurances to themselves that it will bounce. Every tick against them feels like a personal affront, and before they realize it, a tiny paper cut has metastasized into a gaping, life-threatening wound. But here's the truth that Schwager relentlessly exposes, over and over again. Losing is inevitable. Prolonged losing, however, is entirely optional. The true greats didn't magically avoid losses. They absorbed them. They anticipated them. They even, in a strange twist of mastery, welcomed them. Because a quick loss signifies discipline. A small red trade means you meticulously followed your plan. A stopped-out position isn't a failure. It's a profound act of respect for risk. In fact, some of Schwager's most elite traders operated with surprisingly low win rates, some even under 40%. Yet, they accumulated millions. Why? Because when they won monumentally. And when they lost infinitesimally. That, in its elegant simplicity, is the entire mathematical equation of elite trading distilled into one sentence: maximize winners, minimize losers, and survive long enough to repeat the process. So, why is this so incredibly difficult for most? Because the ego, that fragile construct of self, abhors loss. Because childhood programming often equates failure with shame. Because social media, in its curated perfection, only celebrates the green days. But the market, in its impartial wisdom, cares none for these human frailties. It demands your humility, and until you willingly offer it, the market will, with unwavering certainty, take everything else. There's a favorite joke among seasoned traders. What's the difference between a new trader and an old trader? The new trader thinks every loss is the end of the world. The old trader knows it's just Tuesday. So, here's the transformative shift. Begin to perceive a good loss as a win, a swift exit as a victory. A trade you consciously walk away from is a profound sign of strength, because in this unforgiving game, the trader who masters the art of losing best will, eventually, win biggest. And once you learn to lose without the paralyzing grip of fear, a truly strange and powerful phenomenon begins to unfold. Your intuition starts to awaken. Section 6. Intuition is earned. We are often captivated by the romanticized idea of the trading genius, the savant who, with an almost mystical ability, just knows. No charts, no signals, just pure, unadulterated instinct. But here's what the new market wizards unequivocally reveals. Intuition isn't magic, it's memory. Time and again, Schwager's interviews expose the truth behind this pervasive myth. Traders who confidently rely on their gut feelings didn't start there. They earned it. They meticulously built their intuition through years of relentless market exposure, rigorous emotional conditioning, and the brutal yet essential process of pattern recognition. Their instinct isn't a mere guess. It's a silent, instantaneous summary of tens of thousands of trades. Consider the legendary Bruce Kovner, a man who famously transformed 3-0 into a staggering 300 million. He described it with an almost poetic simplicity. There's a point where you start to feel the rhythm. You can't always explain it, but you know something is off. This isn't superstition. This is subconscious synthesis. His brain had absorbed such an immense volume of market behavior that it could signal impending danger long before his conscious mind could even begin to process it. And this isn't just poetic, it's rooted in neuroscience. Scientists refer to it as implicit learning. It's the same phenomenon that allows athletes to instinctively sense momentum shifts in a game, or musicians to anticipate complex chord progressions. The human brain, when subjected to a sufficient number of repetitions, can develop a finely tuned radar that feels more than it thinks. But here's the crucial catch. You only cultivate genuine intuition after years of consistent, deliberate feedback. And you only receive that feedback if you are truly paying attention, journaling your trades, meticulously reviewing your decisions, and allowing yourself to fully experience your wins and your losses, rather than numbing them. That profound emotional imprint, forged in the crucible of experience, becomes your unique edge. One trader Schwager spoke to revealed that he would narrate the market aloud as he watched it unfold. "I'm seeing price stutter. I feel buyer hesitation." Volume doesn't confirm the breakout. He wasn't merely observing. He was actively teaching his nervous system to interpret the subtle nuances of market behavior. The problem, unfortunately, is that most beginners tragically confuse intuition with impulse. They feel a sudden rush, a fleeting hunch, a vague vibe, and they immediately act upon it. That, my friend, is not intuition. That is adrenaline. True intuition carries no urgency. It is quiet. It doesn't yell. It whispers. And it is almost invariably preceded by a long, often painful apprenticeship. The kind of apprenticeship where you trade for months, perhaps even years, without fully comprehending why something works, until one day, the fog miraculously clears. One seasoned trader humorously remarked, "I spent 5 years earning the right to trust my gut. Before that, my gut was just hungry." So, if you don't yet trust your gut, that's perfectly fine. In fact, it means you're honest. And if you aspire to build that powerful inner compass, begin by mastering the seemingly boring foundational elements. Track every single move. Meticulously review every trade. Articulate your thoughts aloud. Because what eventually feels intuitive is meticulously built from the intentional actions you take right now. And once your instincts begin to sharpen, you will inevitably face a new seductive danger, the temptation to size up. But as you are about to discover, confidence, unchecked, can be just as deadly as fear. Section 7. Size kills confidence. It is, without a doubt, the most seductive and perilous moment in a trader's journey. When you feel utterly untouchable, you've just executed 3 flawless trades in a row. The setups were pristine. Your timing was impeccable. The market moved precisely as you had envisioned. Your confidence, naturally, is peaking. Your logic, seemingly, is unassailable. But here's the insidious truth. Confidence, unchecked, can be just as lethal as fear. Because size doesn't merely amplify profit, it mercilessly amplifies emotion. You might genuinely believe you are calm, collected, and disciplined, but increase your position size 5-fold, and suddenly, every single candle on the chart feels like a visceral punch to the chest. Your breathing constricts, your time horizon shrinks to an agonizing microsecond. Your meticulously crafted plan dissolves into thin air. You are no longer trading the chart, you are trading your primal survival response. And here's the cruel twist. Taking on big size feels perfectly logical when you're in the throes of a winning streak. You tell yourself, "I've earned this." But what you've actually earned is the right to stay consistent, not the right to recklessly break your own hard-won rules. Schwager's interviews are littered with cautionary tales of brilliant traders who, for months, operated with surgical precision, only to have their process catastrophically distorted by an inflated sense of confidence. One oversized trade, one unexpected market reversal, one fleeting lapse in humility, and just like that, they obliterated millions in profits in a single afternoon. It wasn't the market that inflicted the damage, it was them. Betrayed by their own unwavering belief that they were in absolute control. True professionals, the masters of this domain, approach position sizing with the meticulous caution of a bomb disposal expert. Their approach is precise, inherently conservative, and never, ever taken lightly. They grasp a fundamental truth. The ultimate goal is not to get rich fast. The goal is to stay in the game long enough to get rich slow. One astute trader even adhered to a counterintuitive rule: I size down after a win, never after a loss. Why? Because it serves as an ironclad guard against the insidious inflation of the ego. Because the very moment you feel most confident is often the precise moment you are most vulnerable. There's a timeless Wall Street saying that perfectly encapsulates this wisdom. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. So here's your next profound shift in perspective. Instead of fixating on the question, how much can I make? Begin to ask, how much pressure can I genuinely handle before I inevitably self-sabotage? Because the greatest risk in this volatile arena isn't the market itself. It is the version of you who shows up when the money becomes too substantial, too overwhelming to breathe. But if you can master that version of yourself, if you can learn to trade small with a truly big mind, then you are finally ready for the deeper, more esoteric layer of this game. The one that has nothing whatsoever to do with charts and everything to do with your very soul. Section 8. The market is a spiritual dojo. Most people mistakenly believe that trading is fundamentally about money. It is not. At its deepest core, trading is about awakening. Behind every meticulously calculated position size, every strategically placed stop loss, every vibrant green candle, lies a far more profound question. Who are you becoming? Because the market doesn't merely test the efficacy of your strategy, it relentlessly tests your character, your unwavering patience, your ironclad discipline, and ultimately, your deepest truth. While Jack Schwager may not explicitly frame it in these terms within The New Market Wizards, read between the lines, and the message becomes undeniably clear, every trader's journey is, in essence, a spiritual initiation, not with a gentle waft of incense and flowing robes, but with the brutal reality of red days, the agonizing torment of sleepless nights, and the slow, painful death of the ego. One trader, with a wisdom born of experience, described it thus: "After a while, I stopped trying to beat the market. I started trying to beat myself, the worst parts of me." This truly is what this endeavor is all about. It is a direct, unyielding confrontation with your shadow self, your insatiable need to win, your paralyzing fear of being wrong, your desperate hunger for control. The market, in its relentless honesty, brings all of it to the surface. Every trade becomes a mirror, reflecting your inner landscape. Every loss transforms into a profound teacher, imparting lessons that no textbook ever could. Every rally becomes a test, probing the depths of your resolve. And just as in the ancient martial arts, trading teaches through the relentless repetition of experience. You don't achieve enlightenment after a single meditation session, and you certainly don't become a master after one fleeting winning streak. The most enduring lessons are forged in the trenches, in the painful, yet necessary, consistency of showing up, witnessing your flaws laid bare, and possessing the courage to not look away. You learn the invaluable art of detachment. You cultivate profound humility. You discover the power of unwavering presence. You come to the liberating realization that you cannot force the market, just as you cannot force life itself. You begin to let go, not in a passive, resigned manner, but in a deeply powerful, intentional way. You act without needing. You execute without chasing. You accept without collapsing. One trader, having traversed this arduous path, famously declared, "The moment I stopped needing the market to validate me, I started making real money." This is far more than a mere financial breakthrough. It is a profound spiritual transformation, and it is not an isolated phenomenon. Every single wizard Schwager interviewed had undergone this profound internal shift. They didn't merely evolve their tactics, they fundamentally evolved their identity. They transitioned from knee-jerk reaction to thoughtful response, from a desperate need for control to a graceful state of flow, from paralyzing fear to an unshakable stillness. The market, in its immutable essence, remained unchanged. It was they who changed. There's a Zen koan, perfectly suited for traders. Before enlightenment, buy low, sell high. After enlightenment, buy low, sell high. The external actions appear identical, but the individual performing them is utterly, irrevocably different. So, ask yourself, what if every losing trade was, in fact, an invitation? What if the adversary you are truly fighting isn't the price action on your screen, but the unresolved patterns of your past? What if this entire game is rigged, not to make you rich, but to make you real? Because in the sacred dojo of the market, there are no belts, no trophies, only one ultimate prize, the version of you that emerges after you have surrendered everything you thought you needed and found profound peace in the discipline itself. And once you reach that transcended point, once you cease obsessing over outcomes, you will finally grasp the most sacred rule of them all: process over profit, ritual over result, identity over income. Section 9. Process over outcome. If you were to observe a truly great trader at work, to really watch them, not just their entries and exits, but their entire demeanor, you might be profoundly surprised. They don't appear excited. They don't seem anxious. In fact, they look, for lack of a better word, boring. This apparent lack of drama is precisely because the best traders in the world aren't chasing outcomes. They are meticulously honoring their process. In the New Market Wizards, this theme resonates with unwavering clarity, echoing again and again. The moment a trader falls in love with results, they inevitably betray the very thing that brought them success: consistency. And consistency, in its purest form, resides exclusively within the process. One trader articulated this with elegant simplicity: "I stopped caring if I was right. I only cared if I followed my rules." This isn't detachment. It is the epitome of discipline. Because if your identity, your very sense of self-worth, is inextricably tied to being right, the market, with its relentless indifference, will eventually break you. But if your identity is anchored to showing up with unwavering precision, to executing your plan flawlessly, then no win or loss, however significant, can truly shake you. This is the point where trading transcends mere speculation and becomes a profound ritual. You wake at the same time. You scan the same setups. You place the same risk-managed trades, not because you are a robot, but because you deeply respect the rhythm. You implicitly trust the routine. You understand, with an almost spiritual clarity, that edge is not about some mystical magic. It is about relentless, deliberate repetition. One of Schwager's interviewees recounted a day where he followed his system perfectly, every exit, every stop, every confirmation, and still lost money. Yet, he went home smiling. Why? Because that, for him, was a perfect day. The market may not have rewarded him financially, but the process did. His confidence remained intact. His identity remained stable. And that, precisely, is the magic. When you commit to and follow your process, your self-worth ceases to fluctuate wildly with your profit and loss statement. Most traders, in their emotional volatility, win and feel like gods. They lose and feel like garbage. It's an exhausting, debilitating emotional whiplash. But when you fall deeply in love with the execution, with the unwavering adherence to your craft, your psychology becomes bulletproof. You stop needing external validation from the market. You begin to generate it internally. This is the secret behind how elite traders can endure days, even weeks, of losses, and still show up with unblemished clarity and unwavering resolve. Their process is their anchor. Their habits are their hedge. Their consistency is their impenetrable cushion. Think about it. Would you rather possess a system that yields massive wins but is utterly irreplicable? or a system that delivers steady, consistent gains because you, the operator, have become utterly predictable in your discipline. The market thrives on randomness, on chaos. Your profound task, then, is to be the one consistent, unwavering force within that maelstrom. Here's a poignant entry from one trader's journal. Bad day for the account. Great day for discipline. I'll take it. So, if you've been riding the tumultuous, emotional roller coaster of trading, try this. For the next week, rate yourself not on your profits, but on your discipline. Did you meticulously follow your rules? Did you execute cleanly, without hesitation or deviation? Did you successfully avoid those insidious emotional trades? Because that, my friend, is the real scoreboard. Not your fleeting gains, but your enduring growth. And if you can learn to truly live inside your process, something truly strange and liberating begins to happen. You become flexible. You stop holding on. You start flowing. And that, finally, is when you grasp the profound paradox at the very heart of mastery. Conviction must dance with surrender. Section 10. Conviction must dance with surrender. Most traders are convinced that unwavering conviction is the sole key to victory. A strong, unshakable belief in their setup, their thesis, their reading of the market. And they are, in part, correct, but only halfway. Because conviction without flexibility is not strength. It is, in the volatile world of trading, a recipe for self-destruction. In The New Market Wizards, Schwager uncovers a surprising yet consistent trait among the most successful traders. They hold their ideas lightly. They act with audacious boldness. Yet they are prepared to reverse their position instantly if the market unequivocally proves them wrong. There is no pride, no stubborn doubling down, no futile arguing with the tape, just a swift, decisive pivot. One trader encapsulated this philosophy perfectly. I'm always confident in my trade until I'm not. And when I'm not, I'm gone. This is the profound paradox. Deep, unwavering commitment paired with instantaneous, almost effortless detachment. This isn't indecision. It's a dynamic, fluid balance. It's a mindset where you believe deeply in your analysis, but not blindly. You trust your system, but you never allow your ego to hijack it. You remain perpetually open to what the market is communicating, even if it directly contradicts your most cherished conviction. It's akin to the fluid movements of a martial artist. The moment you stiffen, you lose your flow, becoming rigid and vulnerable. But if you are all softness, without structure, you will be easily thrown. True mastery, therefore, embodies both firmness and fluidity, structure and suppleness. Schwager recounts the stories of traders who amassed fortunes, not by avoiding mistakes, but by being wrong fast. They didn't shy away from errors. They exited them before they could metastasize into catastrophic losses. One famously declared, "My biggest edge? I change my mind faster than anyone I know." This concept is terrifying for most people. Why? Because we are conditioned to believe that changing your mind is a sign of weakness, that backing down signifies a lack of confidence. But in the unforgiving arena of trading, stubbornness is the swiftest, most direct path to financial ruin. Markets shift with dizzying speed. Setups that once worked flawlessly fail. Unexpected news drops. And momentum vanishes in an instant. And if you are still clinging desperately to your perfect thesis, you are, in essence, trading yesterday's conditions. So, what does this look like in practical application? It means meticulously predefining your exit criteria and adhering to them with unyielding discipline, even when every fiber of your being screams for you to hold on. It means rigorously reevaluating your bias every single day, not to flip-flop capriciously, but to maintain an unflinching honesty with yourself and the market. It means never, ever falling in love with your trades, because the market, in its cold impartiality, certainly doesn't love you back. One trader interviewed by Schwager revealed, "Every time I get too attached to a position, I force myself to size down or walk away." Attachment, he understood, is the insidious beginning of blindness. There's a timeless trading proverb that perfectly encapsulates this wisdom. Strong opinions, loosely held. That is the very essence of this mastery. Hold conviction like a finely honed sword, and surrender like a serene monk. Because in this game, flexibility isn't a weakness. It is, in fact, a profound superpower. And when you master that paradox, you stop needing to follow anyone. You stop frantically searching for gurus. Because you have, at long last, learned to trust the only expert that truly matters, your evolving self. And that, precisely, is what the next insight will reveal. Why the greatest traders don't desire followers. They desire for you to become your own master. Section 11. The Anti-Guru Principle. If you embarked on your journey through the new market wizards with the fervent hope of unearthing the one singular trading system destined to rule them all, you will, undoubtedly, leave disappointed. But if your quest was to discover your own inner compass, to forge an unshakable sense of self-reliance in the chaotic world of markets, then this book might just fundamentally transform your life. Because after meticulously interviewing dozens of the world's most successful traders, Jack Schwager stumbled upon a profound and somewhat counterintuitive truth. None of them trade the same way. Some are scalpers, thriving on fleeting minute-by-minute movements. Others are swing traders, patiently holding positions for days or weeks. Some are devout fundamentalists, meticulously analyzing economic data. Others follow nothing but pure price action, eschewing all external noise. Some are calm, calculated strategists. Others are aggressive, intuitive artists. And yet, despite their wildly divergent approaches, they all win. Why? Because they are not looking for someone else to dictate their actions. They have, through relentless self-exploration and brutal market feedback, become their own ultimate authority. This, my friends, is the anti-guru principle. It represents a radical departure from the pervasive internet culture of follow my signals, buy my course, and copy my trades. The true market wizards, the individuals who have genuinely mastered this craft, do not peddle magic formulas. In fact, they would likely recoil from the very title of guru, for they understand with chilling clarity that what works for them might very well destroy you. One trader, with disarming honesty, confided in Schwager, "My system only works because it's built for my mind, my emotions, my weaknesses." This profound level of self-knowledge is not something you can simply download from a website or acquire through a weekend seminar. It is something you painstakingly cultivate through relentless trial, through the crucible of loss, and through meticulous, unflinching observation. And here's the critical point that most people tragically miss. The moment you outsource your decision-making, you simultaneously outsource your growth. You deliberately bypass the very friction, the very struggle that would have forged you into a powerful, self-sufficient trader. This is not to say you shouldn't learn from others. On the contrary, wisdom is often found in the collective. But it means you must process what you learn through the unique filter of who you are. You extract principles, not rigid prescriptions. Think of it like a master jazz musician. A true virtuoso doesn't merely copy pre-existing licks or melodies. They absorb them, they play with them, they twist and contort them until something entirely new, something uniquely their own, emerges. The established style becomes a mere vessel for their distinct voice. The same profound truth applies to trading. The strategy is merely the skeleton. You, the individual, must supply the soul. Schwager keenly observed this phenomenon. When he asked each trader for their advice to beginners, a recurring theme emerged. Don't try to be me. Try to be you at your best. One even issued a stark warning. If you're blindly following someone, you're not trading. You're abdicating responsibility. Here's the uncomfortable, yet liberating truth. A staggering 97% of trading course buyers never become consistently profitable. Not because the courses are inherently bad, but because the individuals purchasing them are, often unconsciously, looking for someone else to save them. That, ultimately, is the real wisdom. True freedom in trading doesn't come from following better leaders. It comes from the courageous act of leading yourself. So here's the ultimate challenge. Stop frantically searching for perfect systems. Instead, begin the profound journey of looking for your own inner signals, the subtle cues that tell you when you are perfectly aligned, when you are rushing headlong into danger, when you are perhaps lying to yourself. Because once you embark on that path, you cease trading like a mere student, perpetually seeking external validation. You begin to trade like a sovereign, a master of your own domain. And that, my friend, is when everything irrevocably changes. Because at that elevated level, you are not merely playing the game. You are becoming someone the game was never designed to defeat. Which, fittingly, brings us to the final, most profound insight. The transformative moment where trading ceases to be merely something you do, and instead becomes who you are. Section 12. Becoming your own market wizard. By the culmination of the new market wizards, one truth emerges with undeniable clarity. These traders were not born different. They became different. They didn't possess some innate, mystical magic. They possessed a rigorous, unwavering process. They weren't endowed with superhuman powers. They cultivated profound self-awareness. And most importantly, they didn't passively wait to be chosen. They actively chose themselves. Every single one of them began their journey in the same way: confused, insecure, and profoundly uncertain. Some hailed from the world of music, others from science, a few from the high-stakes tables of poker or the cutthroat realm of business. None were financial prodigies. What they were, however, was relentlessly persistent. And what ultimately transformed them wasn't the market itself. It was their unwavering response to the market. Because here lies the profound secret that Schwager never explicitly states, yet every page of his masterpiece whispers it. Trading is merely a container, a crucible, for becoming the person you were always meant to be. These market wizards didn't just stumble upon an edge. They forged an identity. They learned to sit with profound discomfort, to courageously move through paralyzing fear, and to meticulously rebuild themselves after catastrophic collapse. They confronted the very parts of themselves that most people spend an entire lifetime desperately avoiding. And in doing so, they didn't just grow as traders. They grew, fundamentally, as human beings. You can witness it in their quiet humility, their detached perspective, their unshakable, yet understated, confidence. These are not reckless gamblers. These are warriors of awareness. They possess an intimate understanding of what truly moves them. They know precisely when to walk away. They know with crystal clarity what is genuinely worth risking and what is not. One trader, with a beautiful simplicity, articulated it thus: "The market was just the stage. The real drama was inside me." So, here's the question you may have been subtly avoiding. Are you merely becoming someone who trades, or are you becoming a trader? Because there is a profound difference. Trading as a task is external, a series of actions performed. Trading as an identity is internal, a fundamental shift in who you are. And once it becomes internal, everything irrevocably changes. You no longer feel the desperate need to chase fleeting hype. You no longer crumble into despair after a loss. You no longer confuse random market fluctuations with personal rejection. Instead, you begin to perceive your growth in the speed with which you cut losses, in the serene calm you maintain when others panic, and in the judicious restraint you exercise by trading little when there is no discernible edge. That, my friend, is the new scoreboard. That is what it truly means to become your own wizard. Not by mimicking someone else's spellbook, but by painstakingly writing your own. One mistake, one adjustment, one profound awakening at a time. Because the real edge isn't technical. It is, and always has been, psychological. And the final, perfected form of a true trader isn't someone who merely beats the market. It is someone who no longer needs the market to feel whole. Remember the timeless wisdom of Paul Tudor Jones. I'm always thinking about losing money as opposed to making money. Don't focus on making money. Focus on protecting what you have. That isn't just trading wisdom, it is profound life wisdom. So, if you've journeyed with me this far, you already possess the understanding that you don't need more tips. You don't need another guru. You need to trust the arduous, yet ultimately liberating process of becoming you. The version of yourself that the market cannot shake, cannot break, and cannot ignore. And now, all that remains is to act. Your next trade isn't merely a position, it is a conscious decision. You have just absorbed the 12 profound insights that forged some of the greatest trading minds in history. But here's the ultimate truth. Insights alone do not change your life. Integration does. So, let us reflect. Conclusion. You have learned that the market is your mirror, revealing not just intricate price patterns, but your own deepest, most ingrained patterns. You have seen that the best traders are not fearless. They are, in fact, profoundly paranoid. They survive and thrive because they respect risk far more than they crave reward. You have discovered that there is no singular holy grail, only systems that perfectly fit the truth of who you are. You have realized that pain is not a punishment. It is a necessary passage, and the most successful traders have all walked through its fire, burned, broken, and ultimately reborn. You have learned that losing is a skill, that intuition is meticulously earned, and that unchecked size is a silent, insidious killer. You have seen how trading, at its core, becomes a spiritual dojo, a sacred space to confront your ego and profoundly rewire your identity. And finally, you have understood that the real transformation doesn't come from blindly copying someone else's path, but from the courageous act of becoming your own market wizard. Now I implore you, do something powerful. Comment below with the insight that resonated with you the most, the one that hit you the hardest. Do it not just for me, not for the algorithm, but for you, because when you consciously type it out, you activate memory, you give it tangible form. You take a fleeting thought and transform it into an unshakable commitment. Was it the moment you realized that fear could, in fact, be your greatest edge? Or that your most devastating loss might become your most profound teacher? And if you are truly ready to delve deeper, to accelerate your growth, then join the tribe. Subscribe. Share this video with a fellow trader who you know has been trapped in the relentless cycle of struggle. And let us ignite a conversation. Because we grow faster, and we grow stronger together. Remember this immutable truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. And the market, in its infinite wisdom, always knows who you truly are. So, make your next trade a deliberate step into that evolving, powerful identity. I'll see you in the next chapter.